Hi, and welcome to Historical Influence. Here, we explore amazing stories of people and events that shaped our history. Join us to learn, discover, and get inspired by the past in a fun and engaging way. Simón Bolívar, known as El Libertador, stands as Spanish America's equivalent of both George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Born into a wealthy Venezuelan landowning family, Bolívar dedicated his life to breaking the chains that bound South America to Spain. His struggle was fueled by the conviction that the tie that bound her to Spain has been severed. He envisioned a unified continent, proclaiming that the freedom of the New World is the hope of the universe. Bolívar harbored a grandiose idea to think of consolidating the New World into a single nation, aspiring to see America become the greatest nation in the world. Greatest not so much by virtue of her area and wealth, as by her freedom and glory. He took a famous vow in Rome, pledging to never rest until he had broken the shackles which bind us to Spain. His mission was clear: liberate the continent from centuries of Spanish rule.
Simón Bolívar and Palacios was born in Caracas, Venezuela on July 24, 1783. Orphaned early, his father died when he was 2 and his mother when he was 9. He inherited his family's fortune. Raised with no formal education, he received a loose upbringing, but was shaped by key influences. His nurse, Hipólita, an enslaved black woman, taught him compassion. Later, his tutor, Simón Rodríguez, instilled in him an appreciation for the Enlightenment principles of Rousseau, Montesquieu, and Voltaire, and enthusiasm for republicanism. He traveled to Spain at age 15 to gain an education. In 1802, at age 18, Bolívar married María Teresa Rodríguez del Toro and Alaiza. Tragically, just 8 months after their return to Venezuela, she died of yellow fever. This untimely death was the crucial point in his career, turning him toward a life of power, politics, and patriotism. He returned to Europe in 1803 to heal from his sorrow. While there, he witnessed the coronation of Napoleon as emperor and became inspired, confessing that the universal acclaim and interest that his person inspired made me think of my country's slavery and the glory in store for the man who would free her. In 1805, at Monte Sacro, near Rome, he took his life-changing oath to liberate his homeland. He returned to Caracas in 1807, ready to engage in politics.
The opportunity for revolt arose after Napoleon invaded Spain in 1808. Bolívar became a leading member of the Republican-minded group that began agitating for independence. In April 1810, the newly formed Venezuelan junta forced the Spanish Captain General out, and on July 5, 1811, Caracas declared Venezuelan independence. The First Republic soon crumbled, literally. On Holy Thursday in March 1812, a devastating earthquake destroyed Caracas, killing over 20,000 people, including revolutionary soldiers, while sparing most royalist forces. The Catholic Church blamed the disaster on the revolutionary junta, weakening popular support. Additionally, many of the poor, including black people and free people of color, pardos, initially resented the oligarchy of the Caracas junta and often supported the monarchy, which had created institutions offering them upward mobility. Bolívar fled to Cartagena, New Granada, Colombia. He analyzed the failure in his manifesto from Cartagena, criticizing the Caracas leaders for being too liberal, privileging individual rights and political tolerance, and thus allowing conspirators too much freedom. In 1815, during a self-imposed exile in Jamaica, Bolívar penned his famous Jamaica letter. This letter was an urgent cry for help and a defense of the revolutionary cause. He fiercely criticized Spanish rule, calling Spain an unnatural stepmother whose malicious neglect deprived Americans of their rights and kept them in a sort of permanent infancy with regard to public affairs. He argued that the hatred inspired by Spain was greater than the ocean between us. Bolívar insisted that the destiny of America was irrevocably decided and that ultimate victory was inevitable. He admitted the difficulty of establishing a stable government, noting that it will be utterly impossible to consolidate a great republic, and that America was neither Indian nor European, but a species midway, placing them in the most extraordinary and involved situation. Following his first flight, Bolívar organized the admirable campaign in 1813. Rapidly leading an army to regain Caracas and establish the Second Republic. Though hailed as El Libertador, this republic also failed by 1814, partly due to the brutal counteroffensive led by Royalist General José Tomás Boves and his llaneros, plains horsemen, mostly black and pardos. Fleeing again, this time to Haiti, Bolívar finally recognized the strategic necessity of gaining the support of the non-white populations. Influenced by the Black Haitian government, Bolívar shifted his tactics, deciding to emancipate his own slaves and offer freedom to others in exchange for military service. This practical move, a pragmatic necessity rather than a pure principle, led to a profound social revolution by gradually dismantling slavery in Gran Colombia. In 1819, Bolívar launched one of his most audacious military expeditions. Leaving Venezuela, he led 2,500 battle-tested soldiers over the towering 13,000-foot Andes Mountains, through flooded plains and sudden changes of climate. This Hannibal-like crossing, despite heavy losses, enabled him to surprise the unprepared Spanish forces in New Granada. This daring march culminated in the decisive Battle of Boyacá in August 1819, securing the liberation of the heart of New Granada, Colombia. Following this victory, Bolívar proclaimed the unification of the territories of Venezuela, Ecuador, and New Granada into the single state of the Republic of Colombia, often called Gran Colombia.
The newly proclaimed Gran Colombia, formed in 1819, still faced pockets of Spanish resistance. The key to securing independence for Venezuela lay ahead. After an armistice with the Spanish general Pablo Morillo failed, Bolívar prepared for a final decisive confrontation. The Battle of Carabobo, fought on June 24, 1821, was the most important battle of the Venezuelan War of Independence. Bolívar's independence fighters, patriots, numbering between 6,500 and 8,000 troops, faced royalist forces led by Spanish Field Marshal Miguel de la Torre, 4,000 to 5,000 men. Bolívar utilized a flanking maneuver, sending half his force through rough terrain. A key role was played by the British Legions, a regiment including the British Rangers Battalion. Although the Venezuelan infantry initially failed, the British battalion fought hard, eventually taking the tactically critical hills. Bolívar later praised these troops, calling them the saviors of my fatherland. The battle also saw the heroic death of Pedro Camejo, known as El Negro Primero, who, shot twice, famously told General Paez, "My general, I have to tell you goodbye, because now I am dead." The decisive Venezuelan victory at Carabobo ensured the independence of Venezuela. Subsequent naval victory at the Battle of Lake Maracaibo in 1823 further solidified control. Bolívar then moved south to liberate the final Spanish strongholds, particularly Peru. He crossed even higher mountain ranges to reach Quito, Ecuador. General Antonio José de Sucre, Bolívar's loyal lieutenant, secured victories at Bombona and Pichincha in May 1822. In Peru, where Spanish rule had been particularly entrenched, Bolívar received the reins of the revolution from José de San Martín in 1822. The final major military engagement was the Battle of Ayacucho in December 1824, where Sucre defeated the Peruvian royalists marking the last battle fought by Spanish military power in South America. In 1825, the eastern region of Peru was divided to form a new nation, Bolivia, named in honor of Bolívar. By 1824, Bolívar was named dictator of Peru. Having liberated Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, and Peru, Bolívar had achieved extraordinary success.
Despite his military genius and commitment to independence, Bolívar faced immense political challenges in governing the new nations. As a classical Republican, he was skeptical of the principles of liberalism, believing the interest of the nation should trump the rights of individuals. He preferred a strong, centralized government modeled on the British system, with an almost absolutist executive. He warned that the continuation of authority has frequently proved the undoing of democratic governments, yet he also believed that power vested in one citizen for too long leads to tyranny. Bolívar was an enigmatic figure, a born hero of freedom who disdained the idea of dictatorial rule, yet he temporarily declared himself dictator in 1828 to stabilize the weak government of Gran Colombia. He was criticized for this move. One of his great achievements was the emancipation of slaves. He found it madness that a revolution for liberty should try to maintain slavery, and liquidated his own plantations to free his slaves. While the war ultimately led to the dismantling of slavery, the goal of true equality was hindered by vested economic interests and entrenched racial prejudices. However, his primary political disappointment was the failure of unification. Gran Colombia, consisting of Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador, soon began to pull apart, starting around 1826. Bolívar believed this failure stemmed from geographic diversity, conflicting interests, and the sheer difficulty of uniting a continent separated by impassable terrain. He lamented that without unification, Latin America would never stand up or be equal to the other great world powers.
Bolívar's final years were fraught with disappointment and physical suffering. He began contracting tuberculosis around 1828. He grew weary, saying, "You cannot imagine how I long for rest." The collapse of Gran Colombia was inevitable. Bolívar concluded that all his efforts were futile, expressing his famous pessimistic reflection, "He who serves a revolution plows a sea." In 1830, he admitted to the Congress of Colombia that independence is the only benefit we have gained at the cost of everything else. In September 1828, he escaped a possible assassination attempt, reportedly saved by his lover, Manuela Sáenz, known as La Libertadora. Discouraged and weakened by his illness, Bolívar stepped down as president of Colombia. He left Bogotá in self-imposed exile and died on December 17, 1830, at the age of 47 in Santa Marta, Colombia, while on his way to Europe. In his final proclamation, Bolívar expressed his last wish for the happiness of the patria, hoping his death would contribute to the consolidation of the Union. Despite his political failures, his military prowess, self-confidence, and ability to defy overwhelming odds were unsurpassed. He is revered today as the father of their independence and a pivotal figure in the development of the continent.
Simón Bolívar remains a complex and paradoxical figure, a man who fought for abstract freedom yet became an authoritarian, an intellectual who believed in liberty, justice, and equality yet struggled to implement them fully. He accomplished the near impossible, liberating a massive region from 300 years of tyranny. His accomplishments include establishing new constitutions and republics and working toward the abolition of slavery. Today, Bolívar is globally honored. The Battle of Carabobo, which ensured Venezuelan independence, is still celebrated annually as Army Day on June 24th. Ultimately, Bolivar's success is measured not just by the nations he freed, but by the enduring ideal of a South American identity defined by freedom and dignity, earned by the man whom San Martin called the most extraordinary personage that South America has produced.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that shaped our world.